Welcome back to another episode of Man Cave Movie Nights. We are so excited to be back. Sorry we took a day off, but we're here on... No, it's still Monday, actually. So it's not even
Monday.
a full day off. So
Yeah, it's just
a morning. We took the
What
morning
better
off.
way to celebrate Labor Day than by laboring for you, our
Oh,
audience?
yeah, that
True.
that is a good point. And with that labor, it is a labor of love because I am presenting Jared and Niall with a game that they love to play.
Yes.
I love to
Yes,
play games.
I
that
love
to
this
play.
game.
They love to play games, especially the ones that I present them with. And so that is what we're going to be doing.
They
We're
always
going to be
feel
playing...
pretty stilted towards one of us, so I'm pretty excited to see which way it goes this time.
We're going to be playing a game of, is it a remake? Has it been remade? And if not, or if it has, then you'll find out.
That's the name
That's a
of the
good
game.
name.
That's
the
the
game.
name of the game. It's a pretty fun one. So we're going to start out with a warm-up question, and then we'll get into the real questions. So first one, and this is for both of you. Otherwise, we'll be alternating. And it is, how many times has the movie A Star Is Born been remade? It is
Easy.
more than
Twice.
one.
Yeah, I was also going to say twice.
You would both be incorrect because it is 4 times.
Ain't no way.
Easy.
Ain't no
There
way that's
are,
true.
there are 5 versions of that movie that exist.
Jeez.
So we're off to a great start.
Does he kill himself in all of them, or
Oh, spoiler for A Star Is Born.
True.
One of them. Who knows
What-
which one? Because there are 5. I don't know. I've only seen one of them.
The
I'm not
good
gonna tell
one?
you which
the
one.
new one?
I don't want to say which one because I don't want to spoil the one. But here we go. First question. This is
Big
for you,
spoiler,
Niall.
Lucas has watched it before.
Yeah, hey, well, I mean, you spoiled
Well,
it.
but
and then-
what if he doesn't kill
what
himself
if-
in the other ones?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
true.
And so,
Just know that's an option.
just know that's an option for any of the ones that you watch.
He might kill
He
himself.
might kill himself at the end. So, Niall, this is your first question.
Can't wait. Happy to be here.
Oh, man, I feel like this game might actually suck, but
It does already.
here
but
we
I
go.
don't like it at all.
It's true or false. It's true or false for pretty much all of them.
True.
Yeah, oh, man, whatever. Here
Was
we
I
go.
right?
He's
12
not going to
Angry Men.
spoil it for you.
Has 12 Angry Men been remade?
Yes.
And if
True.
so, how many times?
True. Once.
That's
Twice.
wrong.
Twice. 3 times.
Fortunately, it is twice. It has been remade twice, so you
Oh.
got that
Wait,
one
so I get
wrong.
it
He got
wrong,
it wrong.
even though I knew that it's been remade?
Did you know it's been remade, actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two possible points. Every
Then
question. 2 possible points.
You get it. You get the
I get
point.
1.
You get one.
One of
point.
2 points.
You get one
Great.
of 2 points. Hey, Jared, this one's for you. Has the movie
Hey, what's up, everybody? Long time listener,
has the movie-
first time caller.
Clue been remade yet?
Yes.
No.
It's in the process.
It's in the process of
Thanks
being
for saying
remade.
yet.
So
Yay.
you
0
don't get
times.
that point. So 0 times. Yeah, you got that.
Okay, so that's 1 point.
So that's 1 point for Jared. Yep. So you guys are tied up. All right,
Great.
Niall. Has The Last Unicorn been remade, and if so, how many times?
No.
That is correct. That's another point for you.
2 points.
Very
0
well
times.
done.
You have to say 0 times.
0 times.
0 times.
It's
Sorry,
been-
yeah, 0 times.
Thanks.
Jared, has the movie Carrie been remade, and if so, how many times?
Yes. 1 time.
Yes, 2 times. So you were close, so you get the
Sorry,
points.
that's what did I say 1 time?
Yeah, you said
I meant,
He meant
I
it's
meant-
been remade 1 time, but then that remake also got remade
yeah,
once.
so that
yeah,
still
it's
counts. Yep.
both been remade
Yep.
once.
Yeah.
So, Niall, has Spider-Man ever been remade? True or false?
What's the... Well, that's not true or false. That question is neither true nor false. Yes, it has been rebooted.
That sounds pretty correct to me. So you get the points. You get those
Thanks.
points. You get the points.
Or I guess 3 times
You-
if
you
you
get-
count the first movie as a reboot of like old Spider-Man movie or whatever.
Yeah, I guess I'll count them.
Thanks.
And
Good
then
answer.
this is our last question. Jared, has Venom 2 been remade yet?
Man, this is a nail biter.
It's been okay. So, has Venom 2 theatrically been remade? I don't think so. Has it been remade in other mediums? Yes. I've
That is-
read a couple different like fan fictions, seen a couple shorts of people remaking it shot for shot because of how much they love the movie. So
Yeah.
I'd say yes, and probably close to 100 times.
Yeah, time out
But
classic.
I would say false if you're talking theatrical.
Okay. That would also be correct. So
I think
as
that
a
was
result
worth like
of that,
10 points.
yeah, you guys tie as a result of that. So you guys both got the same amount of points and you
game.
tie,
Good
which
game now.
means that I
Man, that
win.
was a nail
Lucas
biter.
wins.
Because whenever you guys tie, I win. So
Yeah,
thank
I
you so
forgot
much for
that.
playing this game that I thought would be more fun and then realized immediately that
It
was
blew.
a terrible game. But hey, you learned a couple new facts.
That was
you
a
learned that The
stinker.
Last Unicorn hasn't been remade. You learned that 12 Angry Men has been remade. Maybe you didn't know that. And anyway, here's
Maybe you
the
did.
theme song.
Can't
and
wait.
let's
This
talk
episode's
more.
going to be a stinker if it's all like this. So
No, it won't be. It
strap in.
Welcome back. We are going to be talking, as was discussed, about reboots and remakes. And this is not just going to be in the medium of film, like Jared kind of hinted a little bit, that sometimes people remake stuff in other mediums, like with Venom 2. It hasn't been remade theatrically, but there are remakes in other mediums. And so we're going
Big
to,
facts.
talk a lot about movies like we do, but we're also going to be talking maybe a little bit about some other genres or things like that. You'll just have to stay tuned and
Interesting.
figure out what we end up be talking about.
Cannot
So
wait.
obviously we live in a society of
True.
rife reboots and remakes. There could not be more. There's even the idea of the soft reboot and the soft remake.
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, yep, great example.
Maleficent.
Maleficent. I don't know if that's a great example or not, but
I
it could be.
haven't seen it.
Nor
I
have
was
I.
gonna say, I watched Maleficent 1, but I didn't
what's
watch
the
Maleficent 2, so I don't know.
Dalmatians one. Cruella.
Oh, Cruella.
What was it?
Right.
Maleficent
Was that
2, Order of Shadows, or whatever that one was called?
The Darkhold Diaries.
Darkhold Diaries. Yeah. House of Harkness.
Yeah.
House of Harkness.
So the Star Wars as well. You could call Episode 7 a soft reboot. That
Many
has been-
people like
many
to.
people call it that. Scream 5 just called itself Scream. There are a lot of reboots slash like requels, people are calling them as well, where they retcon some of the sequels and they say, oh, hey, actually some of these sequels weren't actually canon. Like with the Halloween movies, the new Halloween trilogy that came out retconned all the other Halloweens except for the first one. I believe that's the same case with the new Exorcist movies coming out. They're retconning
wait, by
most
the
of
way.
the sequels. I think that one looks really cool. They gave it a subtitle, though. Originally, it was just called The Exorcist. Now it's called The Exorcist the Believer, which moved forward 1 week, so it's coming out a week earlier now
And
because
the
Taylor
theme
Swift
song,
pushed it off that weekend.
the theme song is going to be Imagine Dragons. Believe
Oh,
it.
Oh,
I was thinking.
can you
And then I saw her face.
and I'm a believer.
That's end credits.
Yeah, that's
good.
incredible. Yeah, that's a good
Then
one.
I saw her face. Man, that's excellent.
So one thing before we dive too deep into this, with that Exorcist reboot getting pushed a week earlier because Taylor Swift put her stake in that.
Yeah,
dish,
she's remaking her
her Eras tour.
her tour, but she's
But as a
remaking it for film.
Imagine you're
can't-
trying to watch like Oppenheimer or something
Yeah.
next in this auditorium next,
the
and you just
theater
have to
over.
hear like everyone, a bunch of, I don't know, 16 to
Trouble,
26
trouble.
year-old girls screaming at
For
the top of
3
their
hours.
lungs.
It's a 3-hour long event.
I
And
knew you were trouble.
the thing
Man,
about
we
that,
probably got copyright struck
yeah, for just
using that.
even just saying the words to one of her songs. The thing about that, though, is that people are mad because it's Friday the 13th in October. So it's like horror season, it's Halloween time,
Ugh.
and she's just
Taylor
like, hey,
Swift
look, it's
Eras
me.
Tour is
Eras
taking
Tour
over
is
the
taking
month.
over.
I
Yeah,
can't
so,
think of anything more frightening.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that's-
horror of modern society.
Yeah, we do be living in that society. So yeah, with that, I think we can dive into some questions unless you guys want to talk generally more about the idea of reboots and remakes. I mean, I think there are some good and some bad, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. But I can do my question first unless you guys want to do yours first.
I feel like mine might be a good first.
All right. So
well, I'm Jared.
I don't care. Did I ask what your name was?
I thought maybe you did earlier.
I'm Bile,
do
playing the part
forgot.
of Niall.
And I'm Laramie Cigarettes. Smooth, sweet taste of Laramie since 1989.
Yeah. And I also, just while we're talking about stuff that's not the topic, I'm feeling really fidgety today. I keep just grabbing stuff on my desk and moving it to other places. So if you hear any just kind of clinks or dinks or whatever, I'm just fidgeting a little bit. Yeah. Anyway.
That's Niall. If you hear that noise, it's Niall.
Yeah.
It's not the amorphous blob that I've adopted and lives in my home now.
Here's my question.
I think we could start with Bile's question, as he is the reboot or the remake of
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
That is what I am. Or as Niall would say, what are you talking about? That's not real.
I was talking to my grandma on the phone today, and she's like, "How's Nate doing?" And I said, "Who?" She's like, the other guy you do the podcast with. And I was like,
"He's good."
Niall? And she's like, "Yeah." I thought his name was Nate.
I could be Nate for her.
Nate would be a fun thing to start calling you now.
Yeah.
I think you'd like that.
I can call you Nate.
I would like it.
I would like it.
And then she
My
called
question
him
is-
Nate. Okay, good.
I liked that joke.
Thanks.
My question is this. What makes a remake or a reboot good / bad? What are the elements of a remake in a good remake that make it worth going to? Because I especially think right now with so many remakes and reboots, kind of hard to tell when something is worth going to, you know?
Yeah.
So, but then also there's just a certain X factor to some things that I don't know if I have a good answer to this, but I think it would be fun to investigate. Because anytime a Disney thing gets remade, I'm like, boo, bad, thumbs down.
Yeah.
But when when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles got announced, I was immediately on
excited.
board.
Yeah, interesting.
You know? So I wonder, I think some of it just has to do with what's the property.
Yeah.
But
I would say
what
that.
else do you think? Yeah.
Also, I think it depends on what it's being, if it's an adaptation, because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of an adaptation of the comics. And so if it's something like that, where it's just another adaptation of a novel or something, then that I think has a lot more opportunity to be cool. For example, the Percy Jackson series coming out. I'm not super excited about that, but I am more excited because Rick Riordan, the author of the books, is much more heavily involved with this series than he was the movies. And so the books that I loved were poorly adapted as movies, and I have a lot more faith in them being well adapted as a series than they were previously, because he's a lot more involved. And so sometimes it's the medium. Sometimes a TV show is just going to work better. Avatar: The Last Airbender live action is being remade as well as a live action again, also as a series. And so it's sometimes it just requires a series where maybe previously it was a movie. So I really just think, for one, what is being remade matters a lot. For example, even comic book movies being rebooted or whatever, they're based on comics, so there's a lot of source material to pull from, versus a Disney remake where it's just the exact same. It's the exact same story, just in a slightly different form, barely even different at all. Sometimes, like with Lion King, where it's just 3D instead of 2D. It's whatever, who cares? And it's just a worse version.
Well, that's another thing, just real quick. I think setting is a big part of it for me. Mm-hmm. Where, if you go back to kind of the original remakes and reboots, which is basically the repackaging of a William Shakespeare story into something else.
So many of those.
There's tons of them, and a big part of it is just, what are the core elements of this story that make this story good or important, and how can we put it into a new setting where it feels like its own thing. Another thing, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Taking the story of the Odyssey and putting it into a totally different context and reinterpreting things. That's basically the loosest definition
Way
of
of,
remake
yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, like that's where I prefer it, you know? I like a movie where you find out it's a remake, like by looking at
Later.
the IMDb trivia page or something,
Yeah.
you know?
Sure.
And sometimes it'll be a remake of a foreign film, just adapted for a more Western audience. Just
That's fair.
like sometimes, like we joked about it earlier about Magnificent Seven is a remake of Seven Samurai, and there are versions. There are multiple remakes of Magnificent Seven as well as Seven Samurai is adapted, loosely, kind of how Shakespeare is into different stories as well, and so. I think that's another thing to take into account because sometimes, the foreign adaptations work really well and sometimes they don't work at all. So
Yeah.
that's another, thing.
Yeah, I think for this question, you can call me Carrie Underwood because I believe it's who's behind the wheel.
Oh, very nice.
That was a Jesus takes the wheel kind of joke.
That's also
I could have said Dom Toretto.
that's also
but,
Dom Toretto in Furious 7.
for some reason, I thought of country music first, but
Or Fate of the Furious, actually, I think is where he says that.
yeah, he says that in that.
Best one.
I think if a lot of times if a director who's passionate about the story and thinks it could be done really well is behind it, it's going to be good because they're going to put the time and the care and everything into it. If it's a studio that just wants to remake something because it will make them more money, and you're like, okay, but who's the talent behind it? Why is it being remade?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, well, so Beauty and the Beast did well, so we're doing Aladdin.
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Okay, we're doing Mulan now. Like, that's so different from, the Dune movie? Yeah, well, we can do that way better now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because modern
And,
technology, yeah.
Yeah,
And that being what he wanted to make and like working himself up to that point, testing out certain things. Yeah, I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I have a lot of faith in good filmmakers who are passionate about a project. If you were to ask me, I don't think, like for Avatar, I don't think Shyamalan is super passionate about Avatar, seeing
No.
as he changed basically
Everything about it.
everything, even
Yeah.
the main characters' names. So it's like even a renowned filmmaker given a project they're not passionate about, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it won't
It's
do
got to
very
be
well.
it's got to be the passion and the reason that they're remaking it. Can't be for money. It's got to be for the story. So,
Yeah, totally. Just wanting your own take on it is like a totally fair reason to remake something.
yeah. I mean, think about like Batman.
Yeah.
That story has been retold probably more than any other, especially like even in the comic sphere.
Yeah, there's so
And
many.
every Batman movie feels so different. Like Tim Burton's version of what he wanted to show with Batman versus Christopher Nolan versus Matt Reeves, right?
Yeah.
These are three very, very different stories that take the same character doing the similar things, but it's the passion and the artistry behind it that makes each one so good.
Yeah. I love that. It's basically whose idea is it? The filmmaker or the studio?
Yeah.
And that's an immediate sign of, is this necessary or not?
Yeah, exactly. Like Joker 2019. The best, the best
That was
movie ever made.
filmmaker, dude.
That was
That was
filmmaker.
100% filmmaker.
That was
Might have
100%
been
filmmaker.
Society, though, actually.
It was more
Society.
society.
Society demanded
needed it
it.
to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
They demanded
That
it.
was
We
birthed
demanded
out
it.
of society's own evolution.
Our lust for.
Yeah. That is a product of budding from society, asexual budding.
Yeah.
That movie is all of our child.
Yes.
You could say
oh,
the
it's so
same about
beautiful.
all of the Venom 2 remakes.
Yeah. Remakes, but in
Oh,
different
man,
mediums.
yeah.
Exactly. Society
We
demands
really
it, and
willed those into existence.
the entertainment industry must listen when society demands. When society comes a knocking, you better answer.
The
That's all
studios
I'm
were
gonna
like,
say.
let's make Venom 3, and we're like, hold on,
We're not done with two.
we're not done with Venom 2 yet.
And now, of course, they are making 3, so they are.
There are
granting our
more.
wishes
There are more stories to be told in the Venom 2 universe.
before we move on to Venom 3. Oh, goody.
Oh, that is great.
Cool.
Ay, ay, ay.
That's all I have to say about what makes a good reboot or a remake. Niall,
I
do you have
think
anything else?
Me as well.
I think another thing is just that like it has to fit, you know? If it's basically just attach big name to big thing, then why does anybody care? But if
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
like if you have Christopher Nolan remaking. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a famous movie that would not make sense for him to. Yeah, it's like
Alien.
okay, that's like kind of cool, but why? Whereas you have Christopher Nolan remake other example that would be cool.
Batman.
He does Batman again.
Yeah, if he remakes Batman, then that's like, I don't know. It basically is just like, is this actually fitting the style that we would want, you know? And I think that's another thing. Honestly, remake something that's so old that most viewers don't remember it coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that makes
Moana 2016.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that makes like Ocean's 11 and Italian Job, which are both remakes.
Great, yeah. Better than the original, both of them, I would say.
Yeah, those are great examples, Niall, because they basically, the originals, while also really good, are just old enough that it doesn't feel like, why are we seeing a new version of this already? Like, it's like, and tons of old movies get remakes. Some of them great, some of them awful, but basically, I've been watching a lot of old movies, and a lot of great stories in there that you could just kind of dress up in a modern storytelling and do it again. And with like what we have in technology now, it could be a lot better than it even was back then. So I don't know. Yeah. I think there's a recency issue with some remakes. Okay, totally. I'm done rambling.
No, that's very fair.
Vile.
Thanks.
So then with
that's
that,
not my name.
I can present my question, which is,
sorry, Nate.
What with, in regards to talking about reboots and remakes, what is a movie or a show or whatever that you think could or should be remade and could be enhanced in a more modern era or just made better? Like, for example, we had talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender being remade as live action because it was already poopy. Even though it was technically already a remake, we're getting another remake. So what's something like that, or just something that's never been remade? Just something you think could be cool to see another filmmaker's take on? Like
Shrek, Chris Pratt.
Directed by Chris Pratt?
No, starring Chris Pratt.
Director's debut.
Directed by
Denis Villeneuve.
Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we talked about the inverse as well, like you were saying, Lucas, of Avatar. What was that? 2 weeks ago when we talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Uh-huh.
Because that was a recent reboot that was just great, right?
Yeah.
And it went from live action to animated.
Yep.
And it was great.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. And there, I'm sure. Well, for example, also Scott Pilgrim is getting an anime, and it is basically a retelling of the movie, but with the same voice actors, which is crazy. But I love it.
Same talent.
Same talent. They're just doing the same thing in a different medium.
They know what people love, and they know what people want.
Exactly. They want it again, but they want it this time more anime than it already was in live action. So let's.
What you got?
I can go if you guys don't.
Yeah, go first.
Yeah,
if you guys want some time. So,
I just know that Niles is going to be the best answer.
Thanks,
so we
Jared.
should save it for last.
Thanks, man.
Thing I wanted to talk about first as well, that some franchises have reboots built into their structure, like with James Bond in particular. Like they just reboot every 10 years or however. And with Christopher Nolan, like we were talking about, he said that he would be honored to direct a James Bond film. And so
that would be so sick.
Don't know if this will happen or not, but I could see his next movie being a James Bond movie with the new James Bond. And like he's the one who kind of starts off the new James Bond franchise, and maybe he does multiple, like he did with Batman, where he like does one movie with James Bond and then does a different movie, and then he does another James Bond, and then I think that could be pretty cool, because I know he definitely wants to make it, and I would think his style would be really cool and interesting in regards to James Bond. But that is not my answer. That's just an example of it just kind of happening already. And one franchise I think that this could work with as well is Indiana Jones. I think Indiana Jones, if you treat it the same way as James Bond, where every so often you recast Indiana Jones as a new actor, but he's just going on adventures because, you know, I really liked Dial of Destiny and everything, and just those movies in general. Just that character, that idea of having an action adventure character doing cool adventures with archaeology doesn't necessarily need to be Indiana Jones, but it is already there. And so you might as well keep doing it in the same way. Spy movies don't have to be James Bond, but you might as well keep doing it because there's already the established brand. I don't mind at all when there's a bunch of James Bond because it's like, it's cool, it works. And the character evolves depending on who plays him. And I think Indiana Jones would be a great use of that. Same idea, the action-adventure genre, but with just a new actor taking on the same mantle. I don't think it'll happen, but I do think it would be really cool if they did it.
Yeah, like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, like Chris Pratt. Exactly.
That'd be sick. He'd be great.
Yeah, he'd be so awesome.
My pick is Sebastian Stan, low-key.
That would be sick. I
be
really do think it'd be cool, but I don't think they're going to do anything with the Indiana Jones IP because the movie flopped, like Dial of Destiny flopped.
Yep.
But, you know, it's probably selling action
in
figures.
Another 10 years, they'll be like, oh, people still remember Indiana Jones as something that's good. We'll make another one.
Yeah. Well, they were going to
and
make
they'll drag Harrison Ford's corpse out of his grave.
Luckily they scanned him before he died.
Yeah, that is lucky.
Fortunately.
I totally had something I was going to say that I forgot. So, yeah, go ahead.
It's okay. We're okay with that.
I can go next. This is not a movie reboot or remake that I want. I guess it'd be a reboot.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it would be, but it would be a TV, maybe like Netflix anime, okay, of the 80s movie The Lost Boys.
Interesting.
If you're not familiar with it, that movie sucks.
What?
You don't like The Lost Boys?
You don't?
I hate it.
Controversial opinion,
That
my
is a
guy.
controversial opinion.
But I think it's so bad. It's so
Lost
bad.
Boys, like
but
the
I
Rob
also
Reiner one?
love it.
Where they find the dead body, that one?
No, that's Stand By Me.
Stand By Me. Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Lost
man,
Boys
I don't know why.
is goth, like 80s
vampire
boys in this kind of coastal Seattle type town. It might be
kind
Seattle,
of got a cult following.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Like people love that movie.
Yeah, but it's like the kind of big like the all the vampires look like they're in like Def Leppard or something like that. You know what I mean? But there's definitely this incredible vibe. It's very goth, emo, 80s like feel to it. And I think making an anime about that, about like basically the same story of these people moving into a town.
Yeah, it really does.
There are, again, like motorcycle riding vampires, you know, who can twist your mind and stuff, and the boys who are, you know, gonna fight off all the vamps, and the girl and older brother who are wrapped up in it and are gonna become vampires, you know, stuff like that. I think it'd be a sick vibe, and I think it would add a ton to the property, as well as, you know, maybe reintroduce it to that audience who is gonna like it, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't like the movie. I love the vibe.
Yeah.
That's where I stand. I went down at Tuacahn in this amphitheater in Utah. They do like a thriller show. So it's like a Halloween
I've heard that's fun.
dance show. And one of the dances they do is a Lost Boys one. And the first time I watched it, I was like, this can't be what I think it is, right? And then like this guy comes in on a motorcycle on stage, and I'm like, they're doing Lost Boys. And I was blown away.
That's funny.
That is my answer.
Good answer.
I think the main vampire is like Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, it does have a cult following, but I've never seen it, and now I don't have a lot of interest in watching it. But I do.
But I've heard
the premise is like kind of fun.
It's a lot of this.
Good. I have two answers that I'm equally passionate about.
Let's hear them both.
Cool.
First answer, going back to old movies that I think could just be done basically with the same story, but better now because of technology and whatnot. And I know some
2001.
people are going to say that Guillermo del Toro already did this, but he did it in a dumb and bad and lame way.
Oh.
Interesting.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that having a
So
movie
dumb
like
and bad
that,
it won Best Picture.
yeah, I think that having a movie like that, the problem that I have with Shape of Water is that it's basically she initiates it, where the feeling from Creature from the Black Lagoon is more of a almost like a Stockholm syndrome type thing. Like he
interesting,
kidnaps her and he is a danger to her and she's afraid, but then almost Beauty and the Beast style,
Yeah.
they like kind of evolve this relationship. And I think that in a modern audience, it would play really well as basically the focus being who's the real monster, this monster or the people that are trying to kill it without understanding it first, you know? Yeah. And that's kind of the theme of the movie already, but I just feel like right now that would be a movie that would just be so successful. And to see a Creature from the Black Lagoon with the capabilities that we have in visual effects, both practical and digital right now, it would be awesome. So that's my first pitch, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Second pitch is The Outsiders. But take The Outsiders, which is a book that also has a movie with Christian Bale, I think, is in it, and a bunch of people are in it. Yeah, that's the one with Pony Boy.
Yeah, it's got Tom
However,
Cruise.
you can do it with like gangs in a big city, like Detroit, modern day, or like Detroit or somewhere in California or something. You can almost do kind of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles approach to it and have like kind of like really hip hop based things. Cause The Outsiders is all like 50s rock and roll, like Elvis type vibes, but just putting it in like modern day gangs and the feeling of that, I think could be so cool, because that's another one of those stories that I feel like is really timeless, you know, a sensitive person who is willing to feel and have sensitive emotions that's involved in a world that's really hardened around them, and their attempt to be seen and be heard in that kind of an environment, I just think would be really cool. And I think that, like a Shakespeare story, it's a story that the core elements are 100% timeless, and you could put that in any time period and have it make sense. So a modern Outsiders.
Cool. I really like that actually a lot.
I think that's the best answer.
Yeah. I do like the Outsiders movie though. It's Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, it's good. It was.
I do love that book too, though.
He knew that he wanted to make The Godfather, and so he tested out with The Outsiders to work up to it.
Yeah, that just like Denis with yep,
Definitely.
So, Jared, do you have a question for us?
Guys, we've talked a lot about movies.
We love,
but
movies.
That's not always,
a good thing.
That's not always a good thing. There are some of our audience that haven't watched a single movie.
Yeah,
and we apologize to you.
And we're sorry that we're always
not
focusing on
us.
the movies.
Yeah.
So instead, we're going to switch over to the music. That's right. We're also a podcast about music sometimes.
Yeah, it's Music Cave Movie Night now.
Music Cave Audio Night. And
Music Television Movie Night.
So basically, what I want to ask is, with every once in a while you'll get a song, I think especially now with like all these Elton John remix collabs that he's been doing, there's so many times where people will take a beloved song and, just do it in their own way. And I think sometimes it's a great thing. And I think sometimes it's the worst thing.
Yep.
And so I want your opinions first on kind of just covers, I guess, in the music industry, or even heavy sampling to the point of like
ripping off
the song. Yeah. And what's your best example of a good one?
I have my stance.
Let's hear it.
Which is, a cover needs to take either the song or the musician covering it entirely out of their normal zone in order for it to be interesting and worth listening to at least once. For example, if I am in, like, say, a metal band and I record and cover a popular metal song like Enter Sandman or something,
Sure.
it's like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
I'll just listen to Metallica actually do it.
Yeah.
However, my example for this is Metallica they released an album recently that is, they got a bunch of different musicians to come in, pick one song from the album and cover it. And then they released it as a collection. And Mac DeMarco did Enter Sandman. And
Interesting.
he did it in the style of Metallica. He didn't make it like a Mac DeMarco easy listening thing. He just did it. And it has that kind of feeling of like, oh man, I didn't know Mac DeMarco could do this.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to listen to. Other hand, T-Pain's most recent album is called On Top of the Covers. He covers a bunch of different songs, and two of the songs are the whole album is unbelievable.
Bad?
But he covers really good.
Oh, good.
T-Pain is an amazing musician. He covers Don't Stop Believin', and he covers War Pigs by Black Sabbath. And both of those songs are not T-Pain's genre.
Yeah.
However, he kind of fits the genre with both things, but also infuses so much of himself into it. Don't Stop Believin', he uses a little bit of auto-tune. It's the only song on the whole album that uses any auto-tune. He reharmonizes it, kind of redoes the chords in the chorus. He does all of these insane vocal runs. It's beautiful. And it's worth listening to because it offers something different. Where if you just cover it and it's already in the genre you do, it's like, I don't care about this. This means nothing to me. But listening to either the song taken out of its comfort zone or the musician covering it, entering the song's comfort zone and leaving their own in the process, that's what makes you want to listen to it, I think.
Cool. That is a great take. Yeah, wow. Have you listened to Weezer's cover album?
Yes.
Do you like it?
It's called Wheezin'.
I don't care for it.
What about Africa by Weezer?
My problem is that I'm primed to just dislike Weezer.
Why? What's your grudge against Weezer?
Well, that's also a rock band doing a rock hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weezer good.
And like,
I don't feel like
know.
Africa's out of Weezer's comfort zone.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. You know?
Yeah, it just depends.
I feel like that felt like to me when it came out that Weezer was like, well, we haven't written anything in a while. We should probably put something out.
Yeah, and it was a whole album of covers. And honestly, I don't mind that album. I think it has some fun iterations, but it's not what you said where they're going out of their comfort zone to cover a song that is outside of their genre. But I do think it's, it's fun. But yeah, anyway, do you have an answer, Niall? Or
an answer for what?
The question? Didn't you ask a question, Jared?
Yeah,
I feel like I just spent a long time answering the question.
He had a bunch of answers even.
What do you think the question was?
I thought the question was...
What do you think it was?
What do you think I was doing for the last
I
4
thought you were
minutes?
just building up to your answer and then you didn't answer. I thought the question was...
Well, if you want my answer for the best cover of all time, then I'll give it to you.
No, I thought the question was, what is a cover that should be done? Was that not your question? I thought that's what...
No.
What
that was
no,
not
okay,
any part of it.
Can I tell you what I think the best cover of all time is?
Yeah, let's hear that too.
Hurt by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
he took a Nine Inch Nails song and covered it, and the Nine Inch Nails dude was like, "Yeah, that's not mine anymore."
Well,
that is a Johnny Cash song.
Johnny Cash song.
Great.
That's pretty awesome. You all know how much I love Weird Al, and
does that count as a cover though? That's more of a reboot than a remake.
Yes, it's not technically a cover because it's a full parody, but the tune is always the same in terms of the melody. But he covers or parodies Lump and calls it Gump, and I don't even remember who the original artist
Lump,
were.
What is Lump?
Is it not called Lump?
How does it go?
I'm pretty sure it goes.
Is it My Humps?
That song. Have you ever heard that song? I'll play it.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm
You'll
pretty sure.
play it?
I'm pretty sure it's Lump.
Bro, Zoom's not going to pick it up.
Yeah,
we already
Lump
know
by
this.
the Presidents of the United States of America. Have you ever heard that song?
I've never heard that before.
Anyway,
Nope.
Weird Al parodied it and
to
called
that.
it Gump, and then it was a
And
song.
is it about Forrest
It's
Gump?
about Forrest Gump. Yeah,
Great.
and they liked it so much that they changed the end of their song to be what the end of Gump is. Because at the end of Gump, he says, and that's all I have to say about that, which is a line from Forrest Gump. And they put that line into their song Lump because they liked the cover or parody so much.
I thought that it was going to be My Humps.
No,
My
that
Gumps,
is
my Gumps.
very different.
My lovely Bubba Gumps.
But, Jared, I would love for you to tell me the question again because I'm sure as soon
Yeah, I
as
was
you
gonna
say it, I'm
ask
going to be
Lucas
like,
if you
of
had an
course.
answer for the question.
I do, but I had it in my brain, and I was just listening to what Niall said, and I got so distracted that I just totally forgot what you even said. So I
have that
apologize.
effect on people.
I know, you do.
Let's play it back. Guys, we've been talking a lot about movies recently, and some of our audience don't watch
It's a
movies
bad
and can't
thing.
watch movies. And so let's talk about music for just a second. In a day where Elton John has got his greasy little hands into every pop song ever,
And Young Gravy, that one song.
Yes. Is it what
Which I
makes,
actually really
what makes a
like.
good cover? Is that the question?
So the question is, what makes a good cover?
Okay, there it is.
And do you have an example of a cover that does it well?
Cool. So I kind of
So
answered
Gumps.
that. But
My
yeah,
gump,
okay.
my
So
gump, my
yeah,
gumps.
a good cover. Now I don't know what just happened to my brain there. It's just truly.
You just weren't listening.
Yeah, I
It's
just
okay.
wasn't listening.
It's
I guess
alright.
I just because I remember you saying all of that, and then I didn't hear. I guess I just wasn't listening.
And then
for
I
when you
said,
actually asked
what's
the
the
question.
song that should be remade?
That should be. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah. So I don't know why that's what I heard, but here's my answer for the question that you actually asked, which is what makes a good
Right.
cover, and that is if it's good. You know, if it is good music and I like the way that it sounds, then I would say
This is the kind of insight people are tuning in for.
I don't know, bro. Like I like music. Music is not my
He
thing.
knows
as
it
much.
when he sees it.
You know, if I'm listening
Yeah.
I listen to so few covers as it is because just inherently I don't love the idea of covers unless it's a
Yeah.
parody by Weird Al Yankovic. So I'll listen to a cover and be like, oh, cool. Okay, here's what makes a good cover. It has to be good enough to get me to not just listen to the original instead. Because if it's just worse than the original, then why even make it at all? But if it's a new take on it, or like Niall was saying, a different artist who's not typically in that realm taking on a new genre, then that's great. But if it's just, oh yeah, cool, here's this song that I love, then that's not enough for me. For example, as well, Come Together from the hit film Justice League is
Heck
a
yeah.
Beatles song, but it is covered
What?
in a much more heavy metal way that I liked a lot more. So if it bends the
By
genre
Alien Anthill.
by Junkie XL and Gary something, I forget the name, but I remember liking it and saying, "Hey, this is a cool
Gary
song."
Busey.
And then I found out that it was a Beatles song originally. So that's a fun little fact
You
about
found
Embarrassing.
you found out after it.
I found out after, yeah.
Oh, that
My
is
man's
just
discovering Come
tough.
Together through Justice
Through
League.
Justice
Hey,
League
guys.
2017.
It was a good run. I don't think we're gonna do any more music on this.
It's yeah, it's just because the
so
Beatles.
if you're one of those fans who doesn't,
It's just because
like
the
movies.
Beatles aren't very good, and so that's why.
That's true.
that is true.
No, I like the Beatles.
That's
Of course,
true.
I like the Beatles. But yeah,
Can I tell
anyway,
you a funny
covers,
story?
Whatever.
Sure.
That's my 2 cents. You can go from there.
It's a
just
good
happened.
answer.
Yeah, this happened recently, and I thought it was funny, and so I thought I would share it with you guys. We were talking about my band Strawberry Jam with my band Strawberry Jam. We were talking about it, and we were talking about the name. And the guitarist, whose name is also Lucas, says, I don't know, I just feel like I cringe a little bit every time I tell someone the name of the band because he doesn't like it. And I was like, really? I think it's kind of fun. Like, people always like generally tell me that they like it. And I don't know where this came from, but he was like, yeah, I usually just say, yeah, we're called Strawberry Jam, like the Beatles.
Great.
And I was like, What does that mean? And so now I'm going to start saying
Just
that
to
a lot.
immediately offset people.
Yeah,
from
we're
talking
called
about
Strawberry
the,
Jam. You know, like the Beatles.
That's great.
Oh, okay. I bet I know what he means because the beat, BEAT,
Yeah,
and
beat
Beetle,
and jam.
Yeah, it's probably.
I think that's what he was getting at, but
double meaning. But
it just that was not
not how you immediately
directly
interpreted it.
implied at all by how he said it. Anyway, Jared, I want to hear your thoughts on covers and what makes good cover.
Yeah, I think you guys kind of summed it up. I think.
Wait, wasn't the question which song should be covered?
Yeah. So I think the band that sings "Cake by the Ocean" should remake the song "Come Together" by the Beatles.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's good.
"Heathens" by
DNC?
21 Pilots should be done by the Chainsmokers.
Yes, please.
I think it should be done by
please.
Imagine Dragons.
Oh my gosh.
I think Believer should be done by 21 Pilots.
Let's get this collab going.
Yeah, 21 Pilots, Imagine Dragons, and
The Chainsmokers.
and the Chainsmokers should just do a 3-way swap.
With a rap.
With
in
the
middle,
rap
like
element.
Cardi B.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Cardi B.
nice.
That
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
so sick.
That'd
That
be
would
sick.
really hammer it home for being the best.
Okay, what were you saying, Jared?
So, my answer to my question is I think if there is a remake that adds kind of artistic value to a song, then I'm in. Now, I think there are some that kind of contradict that maybe, but for the most part, like one of the most famous covers of all time is "Twist and Shout" by the Beatles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who sang that before that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Tough
knows.
to say.
Nobody knows because John Lennon came in and gave one of the greatest vocal performances of all time on accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's so much artistic
Whoops,
value.
my bad.
That's a whole
Oopsie.
I did an
story.
accident.
Oopsie.
Well,
I
when they
sang the
recorded
best song
that,
of all time.
okay, all right,
Oopsie.
all right. I'll-
No. I'm saying that was his
post-credits,
vibe.
I'll tell you the story.
Sure.
But then there are songs that are like "The Sound of Silence" by Disturbed, where you're like,
The
this is
original.
not Simon and Garfunkel's. I don't know why I emphasize Funkel.
Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel, my favorite musical duo.
Two wild and crazy guys.
Too wild. Have you guys
Simon
ever
and
watched The
Garfunkel.
Graduate, the movie that song is used in?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird hearing that song so much in that movie because it's just a little bit. It doesn't fit, in my opinion.
And
The whole
Arrested Development just turned that song into a total meme for me.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, but Disturbed's version, you guys have heard that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Man,
great.
it
It's
is-
amazing.
It is
people,
beautiful.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
and
good.
It
It is
took
better
the
than
world
the
by
original.
storm.
Yeah.
It did. And first I was like, yeah, this is just a cover. The Simon and Garfunkel version is way better. And the truth is it's just very different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're both amazing. So when I feel like when it's just lazy, like I'll hear a version of like "Beggin" by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons on the radio, and it's just some other dude singing the same song.
Yeah,
And I'm like, just play Frankie Valli.
yeah.
He's way better. Like there's few performers better than him. So
Yeah,
why are we
Christmas
messing that up?
Christmas time is always a fun one to hear just who the new covers of the Christmas songs are that are going to be played on the
True.
radio, and they're always terrible. See, just
If
to
it's not Bublé, then don't let him remake it.
exactly.
Only Michael can remake them.
We love Michael. That again, just to further reemphasize my point and to try and defend myself further for forgetting the question and not knowing enough about music or covers. But that is The Sound of Silence is a great example of taking it and making it more interesting or interesting enough to listen to the covered version.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
its own unique take. So
Yeah, and just being like, hey, you know that I have like the deepest voice possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to show you.
I'm gonna show you and slow it
Not
down
deep
again.
necessarily in terms of pitch, but just tone.
Yeah.
It's such a round like. Yeah. It's really impressive.
yes.
Well, that's all.
That's all you had to
Yeah.
say about that?
I think what we learned today,
Let's recap
If
what we
I
learned
may.
like Steve Brule does at the end of his episodes.
Yeah.
if I may, I think what we learned today is that it's all about the intent. If your intent is to add artistic value to something, and push it in a direction that you feel as an artist it should go, then that's great.
Yeah.
Let's tell that story. Let's hope it lands. Or let's sing that song and let's hope it's a good interpretation. However, if your goal is to just recreate something just to do it,
Yeah.
or to recreate something to make money, that's a big no-no from the Orange Boys.
Yeah. That's a
big no-no from the
thumbs
Orange
down.
Boys.
That's a big double thumbs down.
That's 6 thumbs downs.
Basically,
That's 6 whole thumbs down, and my big toes too, which are the thumb of the foot.
That
Whip
is
them
the
out
thumb of
just
the
for
foot. The thumb of the lower body. So basically, this is our whole way of just
Our
introducing
thumbs, the thumbs of the upper body.
the thumbs of the upper body. The toes are the thumbs of the lower body, and the
Great.
nose is the nose of the
Of the
whole
whole
body.
body.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. But basically, this whole episode is just our way of saying we're going to be remaking Lord of the Rings. So it is only because we're being paid $100 billion to do it. And we
Yeah.
could not care less about the source material. We don't care if we botch
Chris
it.
Pratt Gandalf.
Chris Pratt, he's playing the whole cast, actually. Male or
Yeah.
female.
Tyler Perry style.
Yeah, Tyler Perry style. And
Well, there's only like
know-
one female character, so not a huge deal.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
he's playing Frog. He's
Arwen,
playing Stan.
Eowyn.
He's playing the Ring.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
playing Gollum. Gollum
Yeah, the
won.
Ring is a cute little animated character with little arms and legs with big gloves and big shoes.
Yeah, we're
he kind of walks
so
around
excited
and just
for you
makes
to see
quippy
it.
A
remarks.
lot of the budget on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. Produced by Illumination.
we're so excited for you to see it. You're gonna
Illumination.
love it. But it's also gonna be live action. It's gonna be a live action animated hybrid. So just what you want from Lord of the Rings. And yeah,
Another big announcement. If
Who?
I think we're ready to announce this.
who?
We maybe.
It depends
Yeah,
on what it
we
is.
are. I think we are.
I think we
We
are.
are also remaking and rebooting the podcast.
Again.
So next week, tune in for Man Cave Movie Night, which is the reboot of the podcast as it is currently.
as it is currently known as the
As
Orange
it is
Boy
right now.
Inquiry.
The Orange Boy Inquiry.
Yeah. No, this one we're just doing a reboot with the same name.
Oh, I see.
So
That's
this is a
right.
this is a
Oh, I see.
reboot.
So we're just
it's
gonna
a soft reboot.
We're gonna
It's a soft
delete
reboot.
all of our previous content, and then
We've already soft launched it on Instagram. So if you've been paying attention, you've seen that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Anyway, thanks for listening. Let's give a quick shout out to our Kel. Shout out to Kel from our sponsors and patrons who
Yeah,
are
are you looking at that list, or
the
do you want me to do
following.
it?
I'm gonna just say that I probably remember them from the top of my head. So we got Easy Lob,
Let's
we
check
got
it out.
Michael Polancic, we got Riley
Wow.
Allen, Britton Inkley, Ian James Martin, and you two boys who are also subscribed. So we
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
Hannah Steed.
And Hannah.
Hannah
And Hannah
Steed as
Steed,
well.
of course, our very first
bad
one.
boy.
How could I forget? We thank you
You're
for
just
your...
kind of a
I
bad
know,
guy, I
I'm
think,
just a bad-
is how.
But you know who's a great girl?
Me?
Kel.
Cal. Yeah, that's... Sorry.
We love you, Kel.
We love you.
We love you, Cal. We love you all for listening. Thank you very much. Continue to do so. Sorry this was a few hours late, but we hope you love it just as much as any other one. And don't listen to music. There's nothing good that will come from you consuming music.
Yeah.
Just
No
watch
good can
movies.
come from it.
Just watch
Check out the
movies.
original
There's no future
Come
in it.
Together
Yeah, there's no
by
future.
Junkie XL.
Yeah, there's no future in music.
future in
The
listening to
future
music,
of
so.
entertainment is movies. So
AI.
AI. The future of entertainment is AI music. So don't listen to music that has been interacted with by humans. Only robot, because as we know, robots will one day rule the world.
Robot's good.
Robot's good. I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords with open arms. And I think that's the end. I don't have anything else to say unless you guys do.
Yeah, neither do I.
Okay.
You can keep going, though.
I could, but I don't want to. I think Jared doesn't like me for doing this.
Yeah.
We're just not going to talk. That's the end.
Well, I don't know. Depends on how you want to end it.
Yeah, that's the end. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Orange Boys.